Hello, Norfolk enjoyers. Welcome back to the Norfolk and Good podcast. I'm Steph.
And I'm Andrew.
And you're listening to Season 3, amazingly, Episode 3. In previous episodes, we have covered all sorts of Norfolky things, haven't we, Andrew? Even things that perhaps no one else would go near, like smells of Norfolk.
Yeah, I think we should go back.
Revisit the smells,
revisit that,
possibly.
Yeah. There must be some new smells, aren't there?
I think there's more material we can get out of smells of Norfolk. Anyway, that's an aside. We've spoken about things like the Norfolk coast,
yes,
food,
drink,
food history, other events that are taking place. In this episode, we are going to talk about science. Because one thing that our listeners may or may not be aware of, that although we have all these other amazing facets to the county, we have actually got a pretty impressive scientific heritage, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
We're not just a county of farmers.
Nope.
And castles and coastline and fishermen. We're actually at the cutting edge.
We are
here in Norfolk.
We are. Hey,
we just keep a bit quiet about it. We do it on the down low.
Don't like to boast.
Indeed, but you've been doing some of your fabulous research, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of digging.
A scientific activity in itself.
Yeah,
some would say. So you are going to tell me about some famous Norfolk science people.
Yeah, Norfolk related.
Some Norfolk brainiacs.
Yeah.
Scientists, mathletes, inventors.
Some inventors in there, some scientists.
Go on, hit me with some names. Tell me, Andrew.
Okay, well, the first on my list is Captain George William Manby.
Manby, okay, right.
He was born 1765.
Okay,
so
long while
back. But apparently he invented the first portable fire extinguisher.
Fabulous, wow.
I know, which is quite amazing. It was a copper cylinder. It was filled with pearl ash, which is potassium carbonate.
Okay.
And it was propelled out with compressed air.
Okay, so it sort of just jettisoned it out over the fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Just like that.
And what did he do, Captain Manby? What was his apart from being an inventor?
He was also an author.
Okay.
And he was a captain in the military.
Okay, that's hence the captainness. And did he live in Norfolk? Was he born in Norfolk?
He was actually born in the Fens, in a place called Denver.
Okay.
Yeah, where I was born, obviously, all the great people are born out in the Fens.
In West Norfolk?
Yeah. But then he spent most of his life in Great Yarmouth.
Okay. Yeah, because I think, didn't you tell me that he had a fascination with the Navy?
He did. Well, he saw lots of ships out there. And
living in Great Yarmouth.
Yeah, and apparently he tried to create the unsinkable boat once.
Right, okay.
Yes, but apparently the people on the boat didn't really like him, so they rocked it and made it sink.
They thwarted his efforts.
They did, mainly because they gained from shipwrecks out at sea with the cargo that got washed up.
Okay, a wrecking, that sort of thing. So he sort of saw problems and tried to fix them, which is kind of what good inventors do.
Definitely. The fire extinguisher was called the Extincture.
The Extincture. Okay.
The Extincture.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Very good. Wow.
That's a very interesting name. I quite like that sound of that name.
It's quite groovy, isn't it? Yeah. Fabulous. Yeah.
But he also saw another problem, which was saving lives at sea.
Okay.
And we've seen kind of one of these, which is the Manby mortar, which basically propelled a rope from the shoreline out to ships that were in problems, and then you could, with lifebuoys, get the sailors off the ship and back onto shore.
So the ship's in distress off the shore.
Yep.
You're on the shore.
Yep, I'm on the shore on the cliff
from
somewhere.
A big pole. You fire a
rope, basically.
Right, into the ship, and it creates what, a sort of like a line that they can then
climb back to the shore on.
And we did actually see one of these because in the summer actually we left Norfolk temporarily. It was hard, but we dragged ourselves away and we went to North Yorkshire and we saw one on the North Yorkshire coast path, didn't we? Yeah. They've still got the remnants of it up there.
Of the pole there, ready.
Yeah, where they used to fire the Manby mortar. So the Manby mortar, and he's the Manby. And even though it's right up there on the coast in North Yorkshire,
we spotted it.
I was actually going to say it came from Norfolk. It originated, like us, it originated in Norfolk.
It did.
Fabulous.
That's really interesting.
Really interesting. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, and he was also present at the founding of the. It was the National Institute for the Preservation of Life from Shipwreck, which is now known.
Catchy.
I know. Which is now a bit more catchy as the RNLI.
Yes, yeah. I would say that they've probably improved on that acronym.
It took a lot of saying that.
What was it called again?
It's the National Institution for the Preservation of Life from Shipwreck.
Okay, well, fair enough. It does what it says on the tin. And he was there for the founding of it.
Yeah, there for the founding, and he also got one of the first gold medals that was presented.
Fabulous. Wow. How exciting.
For his work, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, that was really exciting. Well, that is a good claim to fame. What a fantastic guy.
Very, very good.
What other... Tell me some more Norfolk scientist type people.
Well, I've got another inventor.
Another inventor, okay.
Who lives in Kings Lynn. Peter Chown.
Okay, Peter Chown, yeah.
And this is really interesting because I actually use one of these every single day.
What is it?
It is a sponge back scouring pad.
Oh, okay.
And he invented it.
Yeah. And he invented the sponge back scouring pad.
I know.
Fabulous, yeah.
It's really interesting, actually, because I love them, actually. I love them.
Okay, great.
And another one that we actually use as well, he invented the rear cycle carrier.
What that goes on the cars?
Yeah, it goes on the cars.
Wow, I love that. So it's all about looking at a real world problem and then providing a solution. But it just takes those kind of the deep thinkers, the progressive thinkers, to just take that step further and actually do something about it, doesn't it? I love that.
Because with the cycle carrier, he saw a bike fall from the back of a car on a motorway and nearly caused a big accident.
How had they got the bike attached to the car without a carrier?
Probably
strapped on or something
like that, yeah.
Wow,
just tied there.
How fantastic. I love that.
And then he decided to do that.
Yeah.
And if you got stinky feet, he also did the odour-free Easy Feet trainers.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I'm loving that. That's really cool. That's really cool.
But he's got lots of inventions. They're just a couple that
and is that
sprung at me.
His career is just inventor. Imagine that business card. That's so cool, isn't it?
I know.
So inventor.
He just loves to
inventing. I love that. We need people like that.
Solve problems.
Yeah. People like that, I think, make the world... they obviously make the world a better place because they provide solutions to everything.
Scouring pads for that's made my life a lot better.
It could be something small like that, or it can be something major like the fire extinguishers. But I just think it's those people that step outside the box and just think differently. It's really cool, isn't it? Yeah. It's nice to know that we've got a proliferation of them in Norfolk. So who else? Tell me some more.
Well, there's a man called James.
Okay.
Who was born in Cromer.
Just James. Just goes by. It's like Batman.
Well, his surname is Dyson.
Oh, I see what you've done there. Cheeky. A little bit of a famous Norfolk man.
I know. And
fabulous.
I always consider the vacuums, obviously, but he actually invented the ball barrow, which was a wheelbarrow with a ball. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did not know he invented that.
No, nor did I.
No, he's obviously synonymous with the Hoover. Well, not the Hoover, the Dyson.
Don't mention the Hoover. You mentioned the Hoover.
The vacuum cleaner. Sorry. The vacuum cleaner Hoover is a brand. The vacuum cleaner, not Hoover, Dyson's, and also hair dryers and those hand dryers.
Are you trying to get a Hoover, are you, or something?
Those hand dryers. And those cool hand dryers. And he's also got things like fans now and stuff, hasn't he? All sorts of cool electronic stuff.
Hair dryers.
Yeah, so he was from Cromer, did you say?
Born in Cromer, yeah.
Oh,
went to Gresham's, obviously.
Yep. They've just opened a really big new, or he's sort of helped fund a new big wing there, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely,
there. Oh, fantastic. Very interesting. Well, clearly there's something in the water here in Norfolk because we do produce some inventive types.
We do. And but also we get people coming into the area.
Oh, we do, yes.
Yeah, famous scientists. And in 1933... a few people may not know this, but a man took refuge here in Norfolk, and his name was Einstein.
Oh, he did. Albert Einstein, he did. He came here as a refugee before going on to the States, wasn't it?
He went on to the States. Yeah, but he was homeless when he came
essentially. Well, countryless, essentially. As refugees, so many. And the wonderful thing is that we haven't severed our offering of sanctuary to people.
Norfolk and Norwich have been very welcoming.
They always always have been welcoming places.
Which is why we have
really
the Strangers Club in Norwich.
Yeah.
Which was established.
Yes.
For everybody coming into Norwich to meet.
Yeah, absolutely. So Albert Einstein came here in the 30s, did you say?
Yeah, 1933.
Yeah.
Took refuge, and he lived for 6 weeks in a hut.
Fabulous.
At the Heath at Rowton near Cromer.
Yeah. Wow. Cool.
He was guarded, apparently. Guarded to make sure he was safe from.
Well, he was a really important brain, basically, wasn't he? He was a very important guy.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Oh,
yeah. So that's an interesting fact, and I think there's a plaque up at Rowton somewhere, isn't there? Yeah. That you can see where he spent his time. Another person, going back to sort of two more inventions, was a person called Mike Burrows.
Mike Burrows.
Mike Burrows.
Yeah.
He's Norwich born, and he's a bike designer.
Oh, yeah.
And he actually created and invented the carbon fibre Lotus bike that was used in the time trials in the Olympics.
Really?
Which Chris Boardman rode.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Oh, because of course, I mean, there's going to be quite a lot of inventing and science going on over at Lotus, isn't there, really?
Well, I don't know whether he obviously did it in collaboration,
Okay.
With Lotus, but he was a bike designer in himself. So he designed bikes for a lot of Norwich cyclists and things like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but the Lotus Engineering, they are doing a lot of groundbreaking stuff. A lot of
carbon fibre, obviously used in their cars over there.
Fabulous.
Yeah, but that was the 1992 Olympics, I think. Did you know where the hovercraft was invented?
No, but I'm guessing. You're going to tell me Norfolk.
It was at a Norfolk boatyard.
Wow.
By a Christopher Cockerell.
Christopher Cockerell?
Yeah.
Fabulous. Yeah. He invented the hovercraft. What, the hovercraft? First hovercraft?
Well, he invented the
concept of the hovercraft.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah, concept of, which was actually tested out at Summer Leighton, I think, for the first time.
Interesting. Oh, okay.
Which is very interesting. Yeah, he bought a Norfolk boatyard and he developed it there.
And when did Christopher Cockerell invent the hovercraft?
Yeah, he invented it actually in 1955.
1955. Fabulous.
Have you ever been on a hovercraft?
No, I don't think I have. Have you?
I've been on a hovercraft. Yeah. Well, I think. Did I go on it?
I don't know. Have you been on one to... Can you get one to the Isle of Wight?
I'm pretty sure I did. I remember we went to get the ferry, and I think we missed the ferry, so we went and got the hovercraft.
I think so. Isn't it called... Oh, no, I'm thinking of catamarans. I'm thinking of the cat. No, no, I don't think I've been on a hovercraft, but I think they're awesome.
Sure I have.
Because they can go on land as well as water.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to go on one of those little ones. We saw on Blue Peter the other night.
We saw on Blue Peter. They were doing hovercraft racing. It looked so fun. So that's all down to Christopher from Norfolk.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Love it.
Right, we're going back to the true science now.
True science.
Sort of
chemistry, biology, that kind of... Not engineering, that kind of thing. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, rather than the kind of inventions. So the first I've got here is Sir Paul Nurse, who was born in Norfolk. He also got a PhD at the University of East Anglia. And he's a geneticist. And what he did is he discovered the proteins involved in the control of the division of our cells. Which has far-reaching things for things like cancer.
Yeah, yeah.
Those where the cells replicate uncontrollably.
Yeah.
And he also got a Nobel Prize.
Wow.
For that as well.
Gosh, that's fabulous. Yeah. Wow. That's very exciting.
PhD at the UEA.
Yeah, fantastic.
And we've got on a big topic at the moment, which is climate change.
Yes, yeah.
Is Hubert Lamb.
Yeah.
Which is actually the father of Norman Lamb, the MP that was the Liberal Democrat MP. And he founded the Climate Research Institute at the UEA in 1972.
Crikey. So that was very kind of progressive at the time, very early doors, wasn't it?
Yeah, but did you know they were actually investigating the cooling of the planet?
In the 70s?
Yeah, the cooling of the planet. Really? But during his research, they realised it was actually warming up.
Really? How interesting.
Yeah.
Ah, that's very interesting.
So they basically, at the forefront of everything that's happening now.
They still are, basically.
But 1972.
Yeah, that's amazing. Fantastic. Yeah. Wow.
That's obviously still there too.
Indeed, yeah.
And then I've got James Smith, who was actually born a long time ago, in 1759.
Wow, we're going back. We're sort of flicking back a bit.
Yeah, I like to flick about a bit.
In history, history flicker.
Keep everybody on their toes.
Right. So James Smith,
James Smith, a Norwich-born botanist.
Okay.
And he actually founded the oldest natural history society in the world.
Fabulous.
Which is the Linnean
The
Society.
Linnean Society.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm loving that. That's great. We have
quite
so
amazing.
many deep thinkers to be proud of here in Norfolk. It's fabulous.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And you only have to dig a tiny bit.
Is that a botany pun? Are you doing puns? Are you doing the puns this episode? Because I thought I was the punner.
Well, I didn't mean to, but perhaps it's just natural for some people.
Is that also supposed to be a pun? That's shocking. I'm really sorry, listeners. Right, so we've got to wind up this section. Have you got any more on your list? Mainly because Andrew's getting...
Are you winding me up?
Right, have you got any more?
Well, I'd like to end on this one, which is something actually I was very interested in as well.
Yeah, disclaimer, we are former scientists ourselves.
We are. No, and I was very interested in the whole topic of antibiotics.
Yep.
But Dr. Ella Barnes, who's a Norwich scientist, was basically at the forefront of that, finding out about antibiotic resistance.
Okay, yeah.
With her work with food poisoning.
Okay.
Yeah, and she saw that, bugs can become resistant to those antibiotics.
Yeah.
And this is still going on today, the research.
Still a really
Norwich
hot
is
topic,
at the forefront of this topic.
Well, it's been really superseded by climate change and most recently COVID, but actually prior to those two things, and probably third in the list, it's probably it's a huge threat to
I thought
mankind, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought that would be the big thing.
Yeah.
And then COVID came along. But
and said, hold my beer.
I've got something big.
Yeah.
I thought it would be resistance to antibiotics.
Absolutely, because without antibiotics, most of modern medicine would just cease to exist or function, wouldn't it, basically?
Yeah.
So,
but at the UEA and I presume at the hospital and everything, there's big research into
massive research, and
going on today with regard to that.
Ties in very nicely into our guest today, actually, because we're going to have to digress slightly if we're going to tie this all up. But so Laura Bowater, who is a professor at the UEA, has massive knowledge about antibiotic resistance, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Her husband, also a scientist, Richard Bowater, is going to tell us about something very sciencey that is happening in Norwich and Norfolk at the end of this month, and that is the Norwich Science Festival.
I know. Excellent. Can't wait.
In this episode, we're going to speak science with Richard Bowater. Welcome, Richard.
Hello.
Hi, Richard.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Excellent. For our listeners, would you mind perhaps just introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about what you do here in Norwich?
Yes, that's a good place to start, I think, what I do and why I'm here in Norwich.
Yeah.
So I've been in Norwich, actually, for since the end of the 1990s. So 1998 was when I came to Norwich. And since that time, I've worked at the UEA, University of East Anglia. I'm a scientist, so hopefully quite appropriate for this episode. And I work... my work at the university involves teaching and research around biological sciences and biochemistry. But I have a wider interest in science, and particularly about telling people about what I think is interesting science and communicating why science is important in our lives now, but going into the future as well. So my job, although on a day-to-day basis, I teach the students at the university, I do get involved in other activities that linked to wider events as well.
Fabulous.
Cool. And there's a lot of sciencey stuff coming up in Norwich very soon, isn't it? With the Norwich Science Festival. Could you tell us a bit more about that, please?
Yeah, so the Norwich Science Festival is an annual event. Norwich has actually had activities and events that involve science in one way or another for many years now, and particularly the Forum Library in the centre of Norwich has been a home to those kind of activities for many years, at least a lot of the time that I've been here in Norwich. But since from about 5 years or so ago, an annual event was developed as a festival, and it takes place usually across the October half-term holiday. So it's very much focused on developing activities to engage children. But it's not only for kids, and I can say a little bit more about that in a moment. Yeah. But that's the time that it happens in the year. So usually the last full week in October across the half-term holidays. And it covers all aspects of science. I've already mentioned that I link with biology and biochemistry, but Norwich has scientists who are involved in one way or another in all the different sciences, and they will all be highlighted and showcased at the event that happens at the Norwich Science Festival. And I should also say, we can come on to mention some of the details in a moment, but as the festival has grown over the last few years, it's now become much more than just being a Norwich Science Festival, and it is focused more on delivering activities and events across Norfolk more widely.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, I noticed this year there's a partnership with the new Dyson Centre at Gresham's. So some events are taking up there sort of up in more North Norfolk.
Yes, that's right. So there's some specific events there that are linked directly with the festival, and there's quite a few different events that will take place in other parts of Norfolk as well. And also, although I mentioned the Forum Library as being kind of the home to the festival, around Norwich, the events will be taking place in lots of different places, not just at the Forum.
It's almost a Norwich and Norfolk Science Festival now, isn't it?
It definitely is becoming more that way, and I think as it's garnered more attention, and the visitor numbers are really impressive for the festival. So it's really getting a good presence now, and people have recognised the fantastic science that's going on in Norwich, but also more widely across Norfolk, and realise that it's a great thing to be involved in, and to tell people about this fantastic science that is happening locally.
I was going to say, why Norwich for science? Because there does seem to be, and you are perfectly placed, obviously, to sort of answer that. There seems to be a real, a huge sort of scientific community. Is it largely because of the they're obviously doing groundbreaking work over at the UEA, or?
Yeah, that's certainly part of it. But it's also important to recognise that UEA is part of a wider group of organisations that come under the umbrella of the Norwich Research Park. And the Norwich Research Park has several research institutes, including the John Innes Centre, the Earlham Institute, Quadram Institute, Sainsbury Laboratory. They're all funded by government funding one way or another. And also now there's a growing number of companies that are based on the Norwich Research Park. So together with the UEA, those institutes and companies, there's a lot of research that's been undertaken across all areas of science, and then that research obviously feeds into our teaching at the university. At the UEA, we teach courses at undergraduate and postgraduate level, but also at some of those research institutes, they also teach students mainly at research degree levels, so for master's degrees and PhD degrees. So that grouping of research institutes and organisations, and now companies who obviously have a commercial interest, it's gradually grown over the last few years, and now has a much bigger presence, not just in Norwich and Norfolk, but nationally and internationally as well. So I guess it's useful to emphasise that the UEA has been around in Norwich since the 1960s, so will soon be coming up to its 60th birthday. Science was always important for the university, but the UEA started very much with a focus of interdisciplinary science. So it didn't really want to go down the traditional route of having biology, chemistry and physics, but wanted to look at the links between those sciences. Of course, we do teach those standard subjects as well, but we also teach very much in between those subjects. And perhaps the best example of that, I would say, is the studies in environmental sciences, which are a key part of the research that's undertaken at UEA. And now everybody is aware of that kind of research and why it's important to understand about climate change. But when UEA started, that work was really, it was very much groundbreaking, and people didn't really know what to make of a department or school, as we call them, of environmental sciences. But now it seems to be absolutely integral to society and working out what we're going to do over the next 50 to 100 years.
Absolutely, yeah. It's really exciting, actually. When you talk about it like that, then it seems that, for a relatively small city, we're doing some quite exciting and far-reaching things in terms of science, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that the example I gave about environmental sciences and climate change, that's an example that kind of runs through much of the important science research that goes on at UEA and across the Norwich Research Park. Because although when we speak to students and teach our students, we can tell them about this part is biology, this part is chemistry and physics, etc., etc. What we really focus on at our institutes is the important matters to society. So the biology part feeds into health and medicine, and chemistry feeds into developing new drugs or new compounds for fertilizers. We've got fantastic research looking at new crops and developing improved versions of crops, and that's whether it uses traditional breeding techniques or more some of the newer techniques, some of which are somewhat controversial, and using gene editing and that kind of thing. And I know that's very much in the news
today, isn't it?
Even today, actually, about whether or not that's an appropriate tool for to be taken out into the wider world. But at a research level, it's very clear that it is important to use those methods and to work out how we can develop in that case, crops for agriculture, but it could be other types of organisms or other types of tools as well. It will be different in other areas of science. But the other point that's been really important for all of us over the last 18 months or so, of course, has been the pandemic. And UEA scientists and colleagues across the Norwich Research Park have been really at the forefront of trying to understand what's going on with the pandemic, of course, locally, because we're focusing on our local population, but also more widely. In fact, colleagues at the Earlham Institute and the Quadram Institute have been right at the forefront of collecting DNA sequencing data of the different strains of COVID-19, and that's really helped not only just the national effort in fighting the pandemic, but also an international effort as well.
Are they doing, I think there's an event, isn't there, about the research and work being done with COVID at the Science Festival, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. So just to summarise the kind of things that happen at the Science Festival, there's a range of events that are happening over. It runs across from 2 weekends, and then the weekdays in the middle as well, which, as I say, is the half term for most Norfolk schools. And there'll be different activities that are focused on different areas. But one of the days is given over to publicising the science for the Norwich Research Park. And it's referred to as Norwich Research Park Day. It's actually the Wednesday of that week. So for this week, it happens to be the 27th of October. But that kind of thing usually happens each year as well. And then the other days, there are a number of different activities happening each day, but they tend to fall into different themes. And so if I just kind of run through the themes quite quickly, you can see one day is focused on nature and zoology. Then the next day is climate change and sustainability day. Then we have a Digitech day, which is obviously looking at technology and thinking about artificial intelligence and that kind of thing. Then it's engineering day. Then we're at Wednesday, which is the Norwich Research Park Day. Thursday is the chemistry day. Friday is Physics and Space Day, and then the final Saturday is Human Body, Health and Wellbeing Day. So what you can see there is that all aspects of science and medicine are covered one way or another. So there should be something to interest everybody who has a passing interest in any part of science.
Yeah, and there's a lot of events for all ages as well. There's sort of events right from sort of real little ones upwards, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. It does cover all ages, and certainly from the start of the Science Festival, it really focused on developing activities for children. And that was partly why it's always found its home in the half-term holiday in October. So there's absolutely activities to engage children of all ages, from the littlest children through to high school children. And most of the events that are happening, at least in the forum, most of them are free. So it's a great kind of morning or afternoon out in Norwich or wherever the events are taking place. But as the events grow, then what has been recognised is that actually, as useful as these events are for younger children to get them interested in science and to appreciate, all the wonderful information we gain from doing the research that's been publicised. As the Science Festival has grown, we realised that actually there are lots of adults who also would like to know more about the very interesting research that's been done locally and across Norfolk. Many adults know a bit about science, but realise that they don't know as much as they'd like to about certain topics, and particularly when the science is really having an impact on our lives, as we see with climate change discussions or the pandemic discussions, then we now recognise that many adults are just as interested as the children to find out more about the topics that are being discussed. So quite a lot of the activities will have topics that are focused on children, but also some points that can be discussed with adults, and so that they hit a two-pronged approach, and that you can always go into more details with the adults. But there are now a group of events that are focused specifically for the adults, and so within the programme there's a group of events that are called After Six events, and so and they tend to be slightly more risque.
We noticed this.
And also there's other things around them. Often there's a social element. There'll be a bar and that kind of thing. And then sometimes you have to pay for those events, but they're usually really good fun and often quite light-hearted in the way that things are discussed. But also there is often some interesting debate that goes along with that, because it really does allow us to delve into some of those topics in a lot more detail, and think about the type of science that's being done, and is it appropriate to be done in that way? Should we go down a different route? So often some interesting debates alongside those discussions.
Fantastic.
So it's good to have those debates, because there's a lot of information out there, isn't there, now? About all sorts.
Well, and also you've got the science, but then there's the ethics as well, and
so it's good to have those sort of debates.
It absolutely is good to have those debates, and I, in fact, these kind of festivals, these kind of science festivals that are now appearing in Norwich and in other cities around the UK, they have very much developed from the point that scientists want to get out into their local communities and to talk through with their local population about the research that's being done and also the benefits and possible disadvantages of the potential downsides of some of that work. Now most scientists in the UK, if they're funded in one way or another through government funding, they actually have it effectively the requirement of their job to go out and tell people about the work that they're doing. And sometimes that's through specific events that they organise as part of their research, but sometimes it can then be done as part of these festivals. And so certainly it is it's a very good aspect of these festivals that scientists are able to meet the public and talk through their science. And I think one thing I'd really like to highlight for people who might be thinking about going along to these kind of events is that you should never be shy to ask the scientists about what they're doing and why they're doing it. And the scientists will be honest with you as to why things are being done in a certain way, and they will absolutely be able to kind of counter some of the misinformation that gets circulated by, through some routes. And so if you've got a question, you're not sure about something, perhaps you've seen people disagreeing on social media about the benefits of a certain type of scientific approach, then go along to an event that's on that topic and speak to the scientists directly. And generally scientists will be very honest and open to discussion at those events.
I love that advice. That's a really good point, I think, actually. And I think you're absolutely right. I think it's really important to kind of break down those barriers and make science more accessible to everyone, even if it's not a subject that perhaps an individual has chosen to study to a high degree, or to that they work in science in their everyday life. It's still something that we can all benefit from knowing more about, because it affects every aspect of our lives. And like you say, the more informed you are, the better place you are to make decisions about how you live your life and how you use these scientific interventions within your life. I suspect this year it might be an interesting year, actually, because science has been brought very much to the forefront of the public mindset because of COVID. We've seen scientists on our television and in the social media probably more than we ever have, even with regard to things like the climate. So I wonder if people are going to turn out more because they've been tuned in and turned on a bit more to science. What do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely agree that is likely to happen this year. And as you say, probably the two major topics that will be discussed at the festival will be things around the pandemic. So not just COVID-19 itself, but vaccines and
very hot topics
for people, and when should people think about getting boosters and all that kind of thing. But there's lots of different areas around the pandemic that will be relevant to be discussed. And then, of course, the other very important topic at the moment is one that we've already mentioned, but it's coming up with the meetings that are taking place soon in Glasgow. To focus on climate change and to think about how can we. And now this is obviously not just Norwich and Norfolk, but this is a global issue to think about as to what do we do over the next few years, because clearly something has got to change, and and how we can get countries around the world to agree what it is that has to be changed. Well, those are the difficulties. And by finding out more about the science, finding out more about where things could go with the various developments that could potentially take place, that allows all of us to have some input into the discussions and the final decisions.
Definitely demystifies it.
It should demystify it.
We've had a look through all of the events, and there's loads.
We have.
Isn't there?
Yeah, and we're very excited. We've already got our timetable of the ones we're going to go to.
Definitely. And so which ones most excite you in the Science Festival?
Well, as I've always said, I'm a biologist. I'm linking into biochemistry, so I really love those areas of events that focus on the very basic aspects of biology, what happens inside cells, but how that then links to having an impact on our lives. And so the area that perhaps people would see this most directly is thinking about evolution. And so all cells contain a molecule called DNA. We've probably all heard of that one way or another, but this is a chemical molecule that's present in all cells, and it essentially dictates or provides the instructions as to how a cell will develop, and whether it grows as a single cell, like some small bacteria, or a large multicellular organism like humans. All that information is provided by the DNA that is contained in that organism. And so there's quite a few events that focus on evolutionary biology, and obviously thinking often in terms of the impact on human health, and certainly we know now that many diseases are caused by problems with the instructions themselves.
Yeah.
So to come back to your question as to what kind of things particularly interest me. So where there's that link between the biology and evolution and medicine or something else, those are the events that I'm particularly interested in. So there's an event on Saturday evening, the final event, with Adam Rutherford and Hannah Fry. They're going to talk about absolutely everything, is what they say. But I know that they have a very specific interest in evolution and how that impacts on the health of humans. So and they have a very interesting style of presenting the details that they discuss. So I'm sure that will be a lot of fun. And that event will actually be hosted at UEA. That one's not at the forum. But it should be very interesting.
Fabulous.
So the forum is kind of the hub, and they changed the name of the forum, don't they? The atrium to the Explorium, don't they?
That's right, yeah. So for the periods that the festival runs, as you say, it takes on that... The downstairs area, the big open area, is called the Explorium. And for all of those different days that we mentioned, there will be different activities that are taking place there. And the activities will be delivered by scientists that have come from the different research institutes or the university, and they will be delivering an activity on different parts of the subject for that particular day. So that's definitely the place to go to as the hub, and those activities that take place there, they're all free. Lots of things to see and do. You can easily take up 2 or 3 hours of anybody's time by going around there. But then there are some, and during the day, the events tend to run so something is happening for them throughout the day, and there will always be some scientist present you can go and speak to about that particular topic that's highlighted for that day. But then there are specific events that happen at certain times in the day, so there are talks that are given by certain scientists, and again, they will be scheduled to be relevant to the topic of the specific day. Some of those are given at the forum, and some of them are given elsewhere.
Brilliant. And all of the details can be found on the Science Festival website, norwichsciencefestival.co.uk. And there are also, I think, hard copy brochures, aren't there, at places like the forum you can pick up.
Yeah, you can download one, I think.
Okay, cool. But you've got...
You can download it.
We've been looking, as we say, we've planned to go along to some events. There are so many. You could literally fill your half term, which is brilliant if you're a parent of school-age kids, because you're always looking for things to do with them. And the great thing about this is that not only is this really exciting and fun, but it's a little bit educational. So I'm loving that.
And will you be dressing up as a scientist to do the Norwich Science Festival park
the park run? Yes. Are you going to do that, Richard?
Oh, you picked up about that. So one of our other activities that interest all of us is parkrun. As you probably, and many of your listeners will know, that there are several parkrun events that take place across Norwich, but one of them is hosted on the Colney Lane Sports Ground. So it's the sports park area between the university and those research institutes that we mentioned on the Norwich Research Park. And so, that park run takes place every Saturday at 9 o'clock. And so, as it happens, the first Saturday of the Science Festival is called the Norwich Science Festival Takeover at Colney Lane Park Run. And I will be hosting as run director for that day. And it might be possible that there might be some dressing up. There's quite a few crazy scientists anyway, so it's difficult to tell how much they're dressing up and how much is normal clothes. But it would be great to see a few people at that event to give a shout out to the scientists as well as as parkrun. If parkrun takes place at 9 o'clock, there's still time then to get down to the forum afterwards and enjoy all the things that will happen at the forum later that day as well.
Absolutely. And you've got some really big names as well in the programme. We've got some CBeebies presenters, Jess French and Maddie Moat, and we've got the astronomer Mark Thompson, is it?
Yes.
It's a really exciting and increasingly high-profile festival. It's going to be great.
It is, yeah, it is, and many of those people who you mentioned there, they're known to children through TV programs one way or another, and so it really provides a good draw to bring in children, and then their parents following it behind them as well.
Yeah, which is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, no, we absolutely love that.
Outside of the Science Festival, there are other opportunities to engage with scientists who are undertaking some of the research in Norwich. One event that I'm particularly aware of is called Pint of Science. Again, that engages with one of my interests, my other interest of going to the pub occasionally. and that's an event that usually takes place in the spring. I mean, of course, over the last year or so, it's been a bit flexible and sometimes it's been delivered online. But there's a very engaging event where scientists who are doing current research will go to the pub and they'll tell people who are at the pub about the science they're doing. And again, it's a very social occasion. It's a good chance to have discussion and debate about the science that's going on. And again, it usually covers all aspects of science. It doesn't focus on any individual type of science. But there will be other activities that people will see across the year as well. There's the different areas of science tend to have a week that they focus on highlighting their science in schools and local communities, and there's a biology week, there's a chemistry week. They take place at different times and not always the same time each year. But I would just urge people to keep an eye out for those kind of events taking place, because again, they're a really great opportunity to engage and interact with scientists who are doing current research and to think about where their research can go in the future.
That's
fantastic. Very good. Yeah. Just quickly going back to that Pint of Science, which has interested me. So does that happen at the same pub?
Yes, I was going to ask that. Yes, what pub does that take place at?
It's usually several pubs that do it. So when it's taken place in Norwich, so it didn't happen. It happened online last year.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
For reasons that we're all familiar with, but the 2 or 3 years before that, it's usually about 3 or 4 pubs, and they're mainly in the centre of Norwich, and it's not been the same pubs every year, but they usually have some space that they can set aside for not just the main bar area, but maybe another room where the people can meet and talk about the specific topic that's being discussed. And it usually runs for about 4 nights across a week, I think. And it's actually a national event, so it takes place across multiple cities, all at the same time. But Norwich is one of the cities that hosts those events. So definitely a good idea to keep an eye out for that. Those events coming up. I'm sure they'll be in place in person in 2022, at least hope to be in person.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I'm sure if you sort of Google Pint of Science in Norwich, then it will throw up any current information about venues and events, won't it?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit early to be planning for the 2022 events just now, but I'm sure the information will be released relatively soon.
So keep an eye out. Yeah, and just going back to the other events, so I mean, the other thing as well is to remember that, and you touched on this a little bit before about the outreach of the UEA. It's not just a sort of discrete little entity on the edge of Norwich. There are lots of events which bring in the wider community and which are for the public to attend. So we've been to Christmas lectures at the university before, which have been quite exciting. Was that where that volcano was? The fabulous volcano experiment where they blew up a bin and just kind of, well, they didn't blow the bin up; it came out of the bin. That's just vandalism. And that's free. I think it's ticketed because obviously it's in an auditorium. Previously, it was in an auditorium and they have spaces, but there is so much opportunity to get involved and attend these. There's lots of public lectures as well, actually. I think, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
There are, and definitely through the Norwich Science Festival, I think there are now really fantastic links between the local community that can kind of pick up information in the forum library to the university, and so it definitely lots of events, often focused at children for the Christmas lectures, but not always at children. And usually there's at least a recognition that if children are there somewhere nearby, there will be adults who will be asking deeper questions or different questions. So they definitely. The events always do think about the fact that there will be a wide age spectrum that's usually in place for most of those visitors to the events.
We can't let you go. Obviously, we've spoken about science and Norwich and Norfolk, but being the Norfolk and Good podcast, we do have to ask you about your favourite things to do in Norfolk. I know you must have some.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as I said right at the start, I moved to Norwich in the late 1990s, so I'm not from Norfolk originally. I'm from the West Midlands, so essentially I come from the heart of England, and whenever we used to go on holiday, we were almost equidistant whether we went to Norfolk or the South Coast or to Wales. And so in my early years, we would go to holidays all around England anyway, and into Wales. But I always remember coming to the Norfolk coast, and we used to come to places like Hemsby and Caister, and then of course Great Yarmouth, and so I was always very taken by the fresh air that you get there, the wide open skies that everybody knows about in Norfolk, and that was really one of my big draws when I kind of realised that I was coming to work in Norwich. That I recognised that it's only half an hour, 40 minutes to get to those places that were familiar to me from my childhood. And now, of course, I go to other areas of the coast as well, particularly with following on from information you provide at the North Norfolk coast and things like that. So I love going to the coast, but I think Norwich is such a fantastic city because you can get to those places that are out in the open and you can see nature and biodiversity. Obviously, that's one of my other interests. But then there's so much to do in Norwich as well, as we're talking about with the Science Festival. Yeah. So it's a great place to be, to see lots of cultural things, but also to get out into that open spaces and to get some good mental well-being activities behind us there. So that's what I really like to do, is to get out and explore different areas of the local coast.
Oh, fabulous, a man after our own hearts. Yeah, we're really excited about the festival, and
really pleased you came on and told us a bit more as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, Richard.
Well, it's a pleasure, and good luck with the podcast. I look forward to hearing more about your adventures in the future.
Thank you. Yeah, well, there are some amazing things coming up, actually. Yeah. So, keep an eye on our social media and also the podcast. And hopefully I will see you for the Science Festival takeover, or the Research Park takeover park run, if not before.
Yes, keeping an eye out for you.
Hopefully that discussion has inspired you all to, at the very least, take a look at the Norwich Science Festival website and some of the events that are taking place. And if you are listening to this after the event, it is an annual event.
It is, yeah.
And there are also, as we discussed in our chat there with Richard, there are loads of sciencey things going on all the time because of the links to the university here in Norwich and Norfolk. But we've also got there are colleges. There's Eastern College doing a lot of stuff in sort of farming and absolutely. There is there's science all over the place in Norfolk, which is absolutely fabulous. So
and expanding Science Park as well, isn't it?
Yes,
getting more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. So sort of keep an eye out for things that are happening. And if you don't make it to the Norwich Science Festival this year, then have a look next year. Definitely, we've booked some things already. We're really excited about it. It's basically going to fill our half term. So, so I would say if you're not sort of familiar with our scientific heritage here in Norwich and Norfolk, it's an angle of the county which is definitely worth exploring more. We should be really proud of it. We're doing some really trailblazing things. It's not just we're not just a sleepy chapter of England at all. We're trailblazers, we're deep thinkers, and we always have been really progressive. And I think we've said this before, and that's something to really be proud of. Anyway, we'll leave it there.
Yes.
But we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time. So we hope you enjoy Norfolk in our absence.
Yeah, enjoy the science in Norfolk.
And obviously, if you have any questions or comments about this episode, do feed them back to us. We'd love to hear from you. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or visit our website, enjoyingnorfolk.co.uk, where you can get yourself an Enjoying Norfolk card. You can get yourself Enjoying Norfolk sustainable fashion wear. Basically, you can just be more Norfolk, which we love. Yeah. We think is absolutely fabulous. But until then, take care, and we will speak with you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.